Hello guys, welcome to another video. So in this particular video, we are just going to be building out our first RAG application with LangFlow, right? So first off, what exactly is RAG? So RAG basically means the Retrieval-Augmented Generation, right? So what that basically mean is just a AI framework that basically combines your LLMs with information retrieval systems to produce more accurate and relevant text. So think about it like this: you have your LLMs, your large language models, for example, OpenAI or Grok, right? And you basically combining these LLMs with your own data, right? With your own data to be able to chat with them and to produce more relevant information or accurate data or accurate text. That's just the whole idea around um Retrieval-Augmented Generation, RAG, right? And building out your first RAG is very quite easy using LangFlow. And what exactly is LangFlow? So LangFlow is just a low code tool for developers, right? Making it easier to build powerful AI agents and workflows. So basically, you could use out any APIs, models, or any database. So LangFlow is just a low code tool that we developers could use out to build out our own AI applications. So this is the documentation. And we could quickly just jump right into the documentation real quick and start building. So once you get to the page, you need to sign up. So for me, I'll be using my GitHub account to sign up for okay. So you'll be taken to the page to start building your flow, right? Like we said, LangFlow is just a low code tool, right? So we're just gonna begin with our new flow, and we have some different templates we could actually use here. We have the basic prompting, vector store, RAG, simple agents. So for this particular video, we are just gonna start with a blank flow, right? So while trying this out, you could try out the other template and get to play around with them. But for this particular video, I'll just be going with the blank flow. So first off, like I said, it's a low code tool, right? Meaning that you basically be dragging and dropping and just to build out your AI applications. Now, it's worth mentioning, the first step you always want to do is to make sure you have your API key somewhere around, right? Your LLMs API key, for example, OpenAI or Grok or wherever LLMs you decide to use. And I'll show you guys, I'll show you more of that soon. So first off, we're just gonna bring in our chat inputs, and so our chat input, just think about it like it's basically gonna take in some text, right, before we could serve it to our LLMs. So the next thing we will need to do here, we just gonna quickly bring in our models. Like I said, we have different models you could basically use. You have the Azure Open AIs. These are all different AI LLMs you could basically use inside LangFlow. But for this video, we're just gonna be using OpenAI. This is the one I have an API key for. This is what we'll be using, right? So we're just gonna bring in our OpenAI LLMs. Zoom out a bit. Zoom in again. Yeah, okay, I think this is way better. Okay, cool. And quickly take a look what's happening here. We have the system, we have the inputs. So these inputs, we're just gonna be binding it to our chat inputs. Then we have the part where we have to put in our API key. Like I said, this is the part where you just have to add in your API key. But for me, I already did that, and I added the API key as a global variable, right? So you could add a global variable here from your dashboard directly and access it across different projects while building out your project with LangFlow. So I already have my API key set up, and the next thing, just quickly just bring in the last part of the last bits, which is the output. So we're just gonna bring out a simple output over here and zoom out the bits Okay. I think I could zoom out a bit to make this more visible. Okay, I think this is way better. Okay, nice. So what we currently have here, we just have an input, we have our LLM, and we have our output. So let's quickly just connect this, guys. And I'll be connecting my chat input to our input and our text to our output, right? So think about this now. This right now is not a RAG, right? This is just a regular chat application or a regular chat bot. But I just want to show the step first before we take it a step further, right? So let's just quickly run the playground and see what we have here. Okay, I think before we do that, we could choose the model name. So for this video, we could use 3.5 Turbo. The model name for OpenAI, since it's OpenAI we're making use of, right? So we're just gonna go with 3.5 Turbo and quickly click up our playground. So let's just test this out and see if we can actually chat with our LLM right now. Hi. Um. Yeah. Yeah. How can I assist you today? Okay. Cool. So we're connected to our AI, right? So we're just gonna ask another question here. We're just gonna say, okay, um, what can you do? Okay, I'm an AI assistant. I can help answer questions, provide information, assist with tasks, and engage in conversation on a wide range of topic. Just let me know how I can assist. Okay, amazing. So we just quickly go back to our editor here, right? So this is just a regular chat application, right? We have our input to our output, and in between we have our LLM, right? Which in our case is OpenAI. Amazing. So now, like we said, basically RAG is retrieval augmented generation, right? So basically, it's just taking our LLM and taking in our LLM and with our own data, right, to produce more accurate and relevant text. Now, let's take this a step further, and to do that, right, we're just gonna quickly set up. Our LLMs to give us data about framer motion. Now, for people that are watching this video in the future, right, framer motion right now is currently being rebranded, or should I say being renamed to motion, right? So the team at framer are mostly, they are not really responsible for framer motion anymore, and framer motion, which is called motion right now, is is an open source project currently, meaning that it stand alone. It doesn't have anything to do with the framer team anymore right now. So, and you could basically think about it like this: there are a lot of tutorials out there, a lot of articles, documentation, right, about framer motion, how you could integrate framer motion. So basically, framer motion, for those that don't know, framer motion is a popular animation library for React, right? So right now they are being rebranded to Motion, meaning that they basically looking forward to go into other JavaScript ecosystem, not just focusing on React, right? Not just focusing on React, right? Now it all makes sense in a minute why I'm trying to like go through this little history before we try to build out our RAG. Okay, so um we are going to communicate with our LLMs to give us update about what I just talked about right now. Okay, cool. So if you go to the playground right now and say, okay, so okay, hi. Okay, so what happened at Framer Motion, right? So can you provide more context or details so I can better assist you? Okay, so let's ask a different question, right? So basically, I'm trying to ask the LLM, any news. Okay, let's just make it like this: any news from the Framer Motion team. Okay, so I don't have any real-time information on the Framer Motion. I recommend checking the official website for social media channels for latest updates. Okay, cool. Um, okay. That makes a lot of sense. Definitely, it doesn't have access to the internet, so it won't be able to give us real-time data on the team, or on what is been happening with the team, right? Okay, cool. Now, that's where RAG basically comes in. So we're just gonna bring in a prompt, and we're also gonna bring in our data. And so take this a step backward right now. We're just gonna quickly jump right into so there was a blog that was posted by Matt Perry. So Matt Perry is the author of Framer Motion, right? So he says Framer Motion is now independent, introducing motion, right? So this is the blog post where Matt Perry talked about what's the next plan for motion. And this is just a very short blog about the future of Framer Motion, right? Which is called Motion right now. So we are basically going to take in this blog post right now and serve it to our LLM, right? To give us accurate data. Because right now our LLM cannot give us an accurate data that, oh, Framer Motion has been renamed, or Framer Motion doesn't exist anymore. It's now being called Motion, and it's not just targeting the the React ecosystem. It's targeting the whole JavaScript ecosystem right now. So okay, to confirm that, let's just quickly go to Motion quick starts. Okay, cool. Let's go to the base page. Cool. So Motion is a modern animation library for JavaScript and React, right? So it's no longer for only the React ecosystem. Right now, Motion could also be used for JavaScript, and our LLM doesn't know about this. So we could ask our LLM one more question here before we even think about setting up our RAG. We could say okay, so is Framer Motion and Motion the same? Yep. Okay, so it said no, Framer Motion is a library for creating animation and gesture in React application, while motion is a general term that refers to the act of moving or changing position. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, interesting. So we could ask that question again. Okay. So we say is Framer Motion, and we could call it, I think, Motion.dev, just to give it more context, right? Is Framer Motion and Motion.dev same the same? Okay. So the flow is running currently, and let's see what's happening. Okay, he said no, Framer Motion and Div Motion are not the same. So Framer Motion is a popular animation library for React application, while Motion.dev that provides resources for creating animation and interaction on the web. So basically, we've been able to establish that, okay, our LLM doesn't, which is GPT 3.5, trouble, doesn't know about this update, right? So now let's fix that. So the first step we could do here, we could basically bring in a prompt. Okay, so let's quickly bring in prompts, right? So we're just gonna bring in prompts here into our editor. So basically, prompts is just the way to guide our LLMs, how they are gonna behave. So for our case now, we're gonna create two variables, context, and also we're also gonna look out for like a question variable, and I'll in a minute show you how we could bind this in the dashboard directly. So we could leave it as context in question, check and save, and right now we have context and question. Now on that step of what we need to do here to make the step complete right now, we need to bring in data. So just quickly bring in data, and for our data we're going to bring in a URL. So remember, we are just going to try to get the updates right from the blog directly. We're going to try to get the updates from the blog directly, and to do that, just going to copy the link, paste it in the URL here, and now let's quickly bind this. So our context is just going to be binded to our URL. Our question is going to be binded to our inputs, right? And our prompt itself will just be binded to our system message. Now you see how all this makes sense in a minute. Let's quickly take this to make it look cleaner. Okay, so just take a recap of what we just did right now. Right, we brought in the prompt, we set up a prompt that takes in the context and the question, right? Variables. Then we brought in the URL. The URL basically just taking in the blog post, and for this blog post contains the updates from Matt Perry about Freema Motion. So now we could go back to our playground and see what we have here right now. Okay, I think we could just delete this particular one. Let's just have a fresh flow. Cool. So let's ask the question again. So what's the updates from Freema Motion? Okay, let's see what we have now. So the flow is currently running. Okay, cool. So now we have a different answer. Cool. So it said the update from Freema Motion now is that it's now completely independent and has been spun off into its own project called Motion. This move was made with Freema Motion blessing, with Freema blessings and support to better serve the entire community. Motion now has a brand new home at Motion.dev with a fresh design and a much requested search feature. Amazing. So like this right now, we just hooked up our LLMs, right, with that particular blog, which is our URL, right? So now you need to understand that it's not just limited to just only URLs. You could basically interact with your data from your database directly. Let's say, for example, your Superbase database, or any kind of database, or your vector stores, right? So if, for example, now if you want to communicate with your AstraDB, so AstraDB basically is the database provided on LangFlow, right, which is built on Apache Cassandra. So you could basically try that to communicate with the data, or to communicate with your LLMs with the data directly from your database, which is on Astra, right? You have options of trying out other databases, even your MongoDB Atlas, your Redis database, your Superbase database. Cool. So this is just an example of how you could hook up your data, right? Your real-time data with your LLMs just giving it an accurate data, which takes us back to the definition of what RAG is, which is a retrieval-augmented generation, right? Just retrieving data, right? And you just combining your data with your LLMs, right, to produce more accurate and relevant text. Now, just to show this again in a more proper manner, I want to do something. So let's quickly take out those prompts. So we're going to do this all over. I think for this, we're just going to copy this. So we're just going to copy this again. We could take this guy and copy, and we could delete our prompt just to show you all over what we're trying to do. I think we could leave our URL for now, so it's not binded anywhere. So go back to our playground. Now let's ask this question again. So what's the update? What's the update from Framer Motion? Now we're asking the question again after disconnecting our flow. Okay, so it says as of October 2021, the latest update for Framer Motion is version 5.40. The updates include various bug fixes. The Framer Motion updated by the Framer team to provide developers with the best animation. So GPT 3.5 doesn't actually know the new updates, right? This is what basically happened, right? In our first, in the first example. So we had to disconnect it just to show that again. So let's quickly take a prompt again and bring in the prompt into our editor and add our prompt again. Okay, prompt takes in context, takes in the question, and we're saying, okay, our context is gonna be this URL. Our context is just gonna be the URL. Then our question, right, is just gonna be our chat inputs. Okay, let's bind that properly. Our question is gonna be our chat inputs, right? Then our prompt, we have to take it into the system message for OpenAI model directly. Now with this connection, now OpenAI can give us an accurate answer based on what is the update from the Framer Motion team. So now if you go back to the playground again, so we're just doing this all over again just to confirm the whole flow of what RAG actually means, right? Just combining data, right, with your LLMs, with the power of your already existing LLMs, right? Combining the power of your already existing LLMs with real-time data just to give you accurate data, right? Or accurate text or accurate information. Okay, so let's ask the question again. What's happening? You can say what's happening at Framer Motion, right? So we can just ask this question all over again to our enhanced LLM. So the flow is running. It says, okay, so Framer Motion, previously a part of Framer, is now becoming an independent project for Motion. Now, so what we just did now, hooking up the prompt to the URL, then to our LLM. Now our LLM actually knows that that Matt Perry is no longer at Motion. Matt Perry is no longer at Framer, right? And Motion is now a single project on its own, right? Okay, so just say tell me more. So let's say this. Okay, so it says Motion is a powerful animation library, was originally part of Framer, but is now an independent project called Motion. It offers a wide range of features, capabilities for creating smooth animation across all devices. With Motion new vanilla APIs, users can now use the library outside of React, opening up possibility of integration with other frameworks like Vue. Decision to spin off Motion as an independent project was made to better serve the wider community of users who rely on Motion for their animation needs. By becoming an open source project, Motion aims to continue driving animations not just on Framer sites or React sites, but on all sites. Nice. So GPT 3.5 right now is aware of this particular update just because we served it this blog post. Now, let's take this one step further again, right? I just want to show something else about this whole flow, right? About RAG and how you could like extend your RAG applications. Okay, so now thinking about it, if you take a regular Framer Motion code, our LLM be able to convert it to a motion code. So for example, take in a fading example component, right? That's basically just fading in a container or fading in a div, right, with Framer Motion. Now I want to convert this particular component. I don't want to make use of Framer Motion anymore, right? I want to make use of the updated npm package, which is called Motion now. So our LLM be able to do this for us right now. So now let's quickly go to the documentation real quick. Quick start. If we go to React, right, and we take a look at the quick starts for React. Okay, so Motion for React is simple yet limitless animation library. It's only with a hybrid engine capable of hardware accelerated animations. It's powered by Framer. Okay, it's also trusted by Framer to power its amazing no code. Yeah, cool. So now Motion is available via npm. You want to install Motion, right? npm install Motion, then import Motion from Motion React. So before now, if you're using Framer Motion, right, you basically import Motion. So Motion is just a component that has been exposed from Framer Motion before now, but now it's been exposed for Motion React. So our LLM be able to know that there's a change, right? There's a change in how to import this particular piece of code. Okay, just to confirm that, let's go back to our dashboard and go back to our playground. Okay, so we're just going to take in a piece of code. I'm just going to bring in a piece of code right now. It's just a regular React component, nothing too much. Okay, so we're going to say convert this this React. Okay, convert this React Framer Motion code to Motion, right? So we're just gonna paste this real quick and send. Okay, so the flow is running. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it says to convert the given React Framer Motion code to Motion, you can make use of the new vanilla API provided by Motion. Here's how you could achieve this. Let's go down a little bit and see what GPT is giving us. So it says import Motion from Motion, then we're just gonna use Motion.dev. Now, in the right sense, this won't work, right? Because Motion is not actually exported for Motion. Like you saw in the documentation, right? For us to be able to use for us to be able to import this, we need to import it for Motion/React. If you try this in your actual code, your code will break because this won't work actually. And GPT is not aware of this, that this doesn't work. So now, how can we actually take this a step higher, or tell our particular LLM that, okay, there's a new way of doing this. We have to serve the LLM the new data, right? Which is taking us again to RAG, which we are trying to improve on. So we're gonna add on that data. So for that, if you guessed it correctly, we're just gonna be adding a particular URL. So for our case now, we're just gonna take in this particular doc, which serves for React, right? So we're gonna come back to our dashboard and say, okay, we have a particular URL here already, which is the blog post. We're gonna add another one. Then we're gonna paste this. This is the one from the documentation directly for the React quick start. And now that is all we need to do to let our LLM know how to handle the data, or how to show us the right code that we'll be able to use, right? So let's quickly go back to our playground again and say, okay, convert this React framework motion code to motion. Let's try it one more time. So send again, and flow is running and running. Okay, cool. Flow is still running now. It says to convert the React framework motion code to motion, you can use the following changes: import framework from instead of framework motion, update the component, use the framework, replace. Okay, so let's quickly take this out and take a look. Okay, we could take the React quick starts. Let's see the React quick start here. Import motion from motion React, right? Then we're just gonna take this. So okay, this should be what we do. This is what we're gonna be using here. And okay, let's go back to the playground. I think for context, we're just gonna delete this, all right, and say we're just gonna start a new flow, right, and say, okay, convert this particular React framework motion code to use motion, right? So now let's send this and see. The flow is still running, and cool. So now to convert the given code to use motion instead of framework motion, you need to make a small adjustment in import statement and replace the component accordingly. Here's the updated code using motion. Okay, so amazing. So you see how GPT 3.5 Turbo is giving us the right data, because we served it with the information that, okay, this is how to import this particular component right now. It has been updated, right? So that's just the basic idea around RAG, right? There's different examples that could try out with RAG. There's a lot of examples out there. There's endless possibility of what you could build out with RAGs. But the idea of this video was just to give an introduction of RAG and try to show you what it really means, and just show you this basic example of how you could use it to like combine your LLMs, right, with information, just to give us accurate data and relevant information. So that will be all for this particular video, right? Just to give a quick touch of what we did. So we just created a RAG application, right, connecting our LLM, which in our case right now is OpenAI, to our URL, and our URL is just taking in the updated information from motion, which was formerly called framework motion, right, to give us the correct information, right, based on the particular code that we are giving to GPT to convert to motion for us. So we set up the prompt. The prompt takes in the context and the question. The question is being binded to our chat input. The context is binded to the URL, right, which is the data. Then our chat input is just being binded to our inputs on ChatGPT on OpenAI directly, right? Then our prompt is binded to the system message. Then our OpenAI model is binded to our chat output. So that's just the basic flow of what we did in this video, right? So I could also mention is there are other LLMs you could try out here. There are different ideas you could try out building out your own RAG applications, and it's worth checking out the documentation of LangFlow and what they have to offer. See you in the next video, and